What is happening, my fellow nerds, blurs, and heroes? And welcome to another episode of BlerdVerse. I got my guests with me as usual and some special guests, and we're talking about WandaVision, and the episode is called Previously On. And today we got too much to talk about, man. Just too much, y'all. But first off, introducing my guest back for the second time, Big Hec and Wade. It's always good to have you on the show. We talk behind the scenes about Marvel all the time. Hurrah, hurrah. And we're glad y'all are back for this episode. We know y'all excited to talk about this. How y'all doing?
Woo. This episode's got me hyped. I'm doing good, and just this episode, we definitely got a lot. There's too much to uncover this episode.
Straight up.
Man, the poop hit the fan in this episode. All I'm saying is I'm hyped to talk about it. I did a lot of air punching when the episode was going on, so yeah. I'm hyped.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of air punching me. I was jumped out my couch, like a few times, so I had to catch myself. But we're glad y'all here, and I got my usual suspects as usual. I got the real Avatar rating, the real Avatar rating from Mortal Kombat. How you doing, man?
What's going on? RJ here. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming.
And I got the real Maximum Spider, aka the real Spider, Maximum Spider Trey Mosley. What's going on?
Hey, we chilling, back again, ready to turn it up. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do this, man. So let's just get straight into it. There's no other thing I have to say. Okay, this episode, for the most part, I think we are gonna have to talk about not just this episode. We're gonna have to talk about a lot of things outside this episode because. Would you guys agree that this episode kind of is starting to see a connection to all these films?
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah,
for sure,
that's what I thought.
Sure. This episode was one big recap, but not only was it a recap, it was a lens, deeper into the, like we said, the continuity of Marvel, the kings of continuity. And this probably was my favorite episode of the season so far.
I agree. It was mine too, and there's just too much to say. But so let's just get straight into it. Okay, so when we see from last episode that how we find out that Agatha Harkness, we knew Agnes, that was the whole time. Comic fans know that. Everybody knew that. Yeah. She goes into the basement of her house because the kids are missing, and then in this episode we see the intro. And what happens is that she reveals that she's Agatha, and they're explaining how this reality is creating everything, and like, what are you doing, Wanda? There's something deeper to this connection, right? Yeah. And we won't dive too deep in this yet, but I do want to talk about the Darkhold for a second. But I want to ask you guys a question about the Darkhold, because we've seen images and stuff from the past in these films of how Doctor Strange has talked about this so-called legendary book and how it draws dark energy. And people have been drawing from this book, and it's a book of spells, and it harnesses the powers of all spells and evil, right? Mm-hmm. So before we get started a little bit more into this episode, we saw this book in the last episode, and it was covered by this orange aura, right? So this orange aura is kind of the representation of the wizards, right? The wizard power. And if you notice also why Wanda has her red powers, her hex powers, hers are chaos energy, and she draws that energy. And if you notice that Agatha has the purple powers, she draws energy from the dark dimension. So this book of spells is kind of trying to harness all these powers that all three of them have. So that being said, Big Hec and Wade, whichever one of you want to go first, why is this book so important?
It all plays into, and I'm not a big fan, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of the magic part of Marvel. I've never been a huge magic person, but I feel this movie I mean, the book now ties into Doctor Strange, and now it's making you revisit certain things because it's little Easter eggs that we didn't catch the first time that now you have to go back and look into. This book, I feel, is going to be one of the biggest things that will play into what a lot of people are calling, when we're probably going to dive deep on it later, the multiverse trilogy, counting WandaVision as the kickoff to it. So this is just a catalyst to something bigger, and it's probably the key to the multiverse. Let's add that into the picture. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I actually have another theory to go along with it. The book, it's such a huge tie back to Doctor Strange itself, because if you remember in the actual movie, he stated that the what was her name? The one or the
ancient one?
The ancient one draws a lot of her power from the dark dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So if the book has been missing and yet she pulls her power from the dark dimension, just exactly how long has this book been missing? And where is this all happening? So now it kind of ties back into Endgame also. Because remember, when they jumped back to the time period and he took the time stone from the ancient one, now what happens is the timelines get messed up. So are we now looking at the fact that one book that's been missing, does it play into the continuity of the fact that because they went back in time, the ancient one lost the book during that time period? Was it taken during the time period of when, what was his name? The Mordo, when he
Baron Mordo.
When he took the book and he ran off? Or is this something that Agatha has gotten her hands on this whole entire time, and that was just one of the books that was missing throughout the collection? Agatha is an OG Salem witch.
Would that explain the opening scene? Ooh.
Right.
It did.
So the opening scene, she's pulling all of their energy. She's absorbing it. At one point, you didn't even see her. She looked a little tattered, but when she took all of everyone's power, she went and started looking real young out of nowhere.
Exactly. Who told them? You know what the thing is, too? I want to throw this in there. Remember in Endgame, Hulk told Steve he had to be on point when he dropped everything back and all the stones back? What if he was off a little bit on certain points? So he could play a part in this, too. Because Hulk did say you have to get every stone back at the right time and at the right place in that order, and you have to fix everything. Steve had to move. I know he came back as old man Steve, but he might have been off just a millisecond and threw everything off, and that's why we're having what we're having now.
And also, possibly by staying in whatever timeline he did, he could have also threw stuff off that way too.
Who knows?
Done some stuff that we don't even know.
That also plays a big thing, because him staying with Peggy now.
Yep,
that could have just doing off the whole timeline now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though when he got to her, it was after the whole incident, him going in the ice and, the whole battle between him and Red Skull. But now you kind of like changed the game when it comes to the battle in New York, the first battle with the Avengers. Mm-hmm. You changed the whole outcome with Age of Ultron. Were you there? Were you not there? Like, what is to happen now?
Shauna brought up a good point. And I'm going to say this too. You know how we know Steve might have messed up? It's something we've been talking about for months. He went to Peggy's funeral as old man Steve in Civil War. So that the butterfly effect could play in that too.
Oh,
remember, that's the
he
theory.
Was there twice.
Yeah.
He was a pole
That's the theory. The last usher on the bottom and the back left, out of the 6 ushers who were carrying her in, the one to the left has the same hairstyle as Steve and is an older guy. Steve could have been carrying Peggy in.
And thrown off the whole timeline. Yeah, Steve was in the back.
See?
I need a sip of water on that.
Yeah, right. It's like, yo.
Hold on, let me take a sip of this coffee real quick.
Bro.
No, I think we're getting to this. Like I said, we gotta dive deep into this. So I'm glad that we're all talking about this too. And to back off of what Big Hec and Wade were mentioning with Doctor Strange before I asked RJ and Trey about this book. One more thing I think we're forgetting is that when Hulk was talking to the Ancient One, she was explaining how that if there's one universe, but then they doze off into two universes, then it messes up the timeline. And then you saw that stream of how the timeline would go into a different like reality or wherever.
It takes a different path.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I think that something might have been altered because she was explaining how that the time frame or the time dimension, whatever, is being messed up, and she was also drawing the dark energy from the book. So
that also plays into what Wade said, because when Bruce was explaining, if we were to bring it back during that time, then that alternate timeline would then disappear. But what if in fact it doesn't erase the timeline? Because you've now taken that piece out of that equation, you have now permanently distorted the timeline to where there is an alternate reality.
It's already distorted.
It's already distorted.
Yeah, it's already messed up.
Loki has the Tesseract. It's already distorted.
Oh,
exactly.
Wow.
Forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Already distorted.
Maybe that led to God.
Wait,
Okay.
exactly. How many stones are there?
Because the Loki in the main timeline totally
right.
died.
Yeah, he's
then
dead.
He went back alive now, so that could really mess things up too.
But then we need to think about it. I want to go one level deeper. How many stones do we have?
6.
There's 6 stones. Mm-hmm. How many timelines are we now talking about, guys? We took 6 stones out of 6 different points in time.
Oh, wow. We're already in the multiverse and don't know it.
We have a multiverse and didn't even know it. With the 6 stones taken out of continuity of that timeline, we have now created 6 different paths.
I need more water. Yo.
Trey, my man, why is this book so important?
Man, I don't even know, man. I know that it should probably play a big part in Doctor Strange's area of expertise, but I don't know that much about this book. So I think that maybe it might be a big source of what Agatha's power is and where she's getting all of her stuff from. So I think that it might come to a point where Wanda figures this out and she somehow grabs the book, and maybe she takes spells from this book and uses it, or maybe they just end up calling her a mutant and then she just makes up her own stuff.
Yeah, Shayna's mind is blown right now.
Yeah, we got our mind blown.
Hey, you're on the right episode because you're about to hear from all of us. And RJ, so I'm gonna explain something about a little bit more about the Darkhold after I ask you the same question. Why do you think this book is important?
Well, for me, I feel like the book is important for Agatha in this particular show because it's the catalyst that starts her, on her journey to find power. I think the opening scene just kind of showed, I guess, the level of darkness that the book does hold, and the fact that she's willing to drain and, kill her own mother, for this power, because she very well could have stopped it. But absolute power corrupts absolutely. So I feel that the Darkhold has a dark hold. See how I slipped that in there? Comedian. All right. Yeah, I think the Darkhold has a dark hold on. That was really smooth. That was really good. Darkhold.
That was lavishly smooth.
It was very smooth. They're gonna call me RJ Smooth instead of you Chuck Smooth. That's me now. So
hey, you the real avatar. I'm telling you, man. You the real.
We're not gonna have a battle of smooth. The podcast in the building.
We're gonna save it. The Darkhold has a dark hold over Agatha. Because that kind of that level of power is tempting. You see what she's willing to do. She has 2 twins trapped in the basement. Thankfully, But it just shows what you're willing to go through, to get that kind of power. So for me, I like what I think about the Darkhold is I think that we haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah,
this is just the first snowflake in an avalanche.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and everyone brings up great points, and it's just we can go on days talking about this, and we're still going to talk about a lot. But I'm going to blow everyone's mind right now just for a quick second before we move on to the next scene. So I just want to explain the Darkhold because a lot of people don't know too much about it. So, all right, so the Darkhold, basically, this is a long story short. The Darkhold is also referred to as the Book of the Damned, right? Okay, so you guys have been hearing for the past week about Blade being in the news a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what the Darkhold has to do with. So, like I was saying, it's a book by the damned, and it was created by the evil god. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Chiton. Forgive me if I, butchered that. And he uses powers of destruction of all evil, just like in dark realms, in this one book to create this energy. So basically, this book also helped create so much evil that this evil created the very first vampire. And when this very first vampire was walking upon Earth, he used other realms and dimensions to, gain allies and take energy from people too. So this book is probably going to tie into some Blade and some other things that we're going to see in the future. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. So
I'm ready for Blade.
Yeah, I'm excited for Blade. I'm
going to talk about. I'll give you guys my feeling about Blade after.
All right, cool. So let's move on. Let's start this episode off a little fresh because I know we had to talk about that. The Salem witch trials. We saw that at the very beginning of this episode because that was not explained in these past 7 episodes. So we finally get to see what happened and why. So as we saw Agatha get dragged by other witches to the very cross that they're gonna take her powers, burn her, whatever. But in the comics she gets burned by this group called the something 7. I forgot the name of it, but anyway, she's on the cross, the wooden stick, and they're taking her powers. But you guys kind of see that something's helping her, something's kind of protecting her. It looks like, but I want your thoughts on that because she wipes out all of the witches and takes their souls and all their powers, even her own mother. I'm gonna throw this one to RJ. Did you think someone saved Agatha?
No, I think that she got the power that she wanted and she knew what she was doing. I feel like it might have been a trap even to harness more power. Because if you look at it, when they went to go burn her at the stake, and kudos to the acting because I kind of saw it coming when they burned her and she was like, well played. She's a smooth villain, and I appreciate that about her. One thing I say about and y'all know I love a good villain. One thing I appreciate about Agatha's villainy, whatever, is her ability to kind of throw humor in there that makes sense. It's not corny. It's not uncalled for. Because Marvel has a really bad habit of putting humor in the wrong place sometimes. But I feel like the way Agatha does it is so menacing, and I don't know. I love everything about her character. The whole when they burned her at the stake was just a beautiful scene. But to go back to your question, I don't think anyone in particular was helping Agatha. I think she was using the dark power that she acquired. Because even as they were burning her at the stake, her mother was, said something about, I don't know, she's like, it's not too late or something like that, or whatever she said. But she's invoked some kind of outward force. She's invited them in, and she's done something because the magic that she has is not normal magic, and that's why. And we'll get into it a little later. The last line of the movie, the last line of the show, I think she's on a hunt for a massive power. And, that's kind of what drew her to Wanda when she sensed that great power.
I think that's well explained. Yeah. And I like how you described Agatha. I agree with you 100%. I think she's one of those villains that has that type of swag, and she's believable, and she makes that character believable, like an evil witch. She has that pure witch vibe, and we see how like she's just a bad MF. That's all I gotta say. She's just a bad MF, and she knows how to carry herself. Just with the acting and just how she brings the character to life. I agree. I love it. Trey, my man.
She said she could be good. Okay, that's what she said, Carmen.
She said she could be good. Real quick, shout out to my wife for getting in the chat.
Carmen, best friend. What up? Shut up, Eugene. Don't talk to Carmen. She's my best friend.
She's my best friend, but we're not going to go there right now.
Where you at? Turn your location on. We'll settle this when we get off screen.
But to jump off of what RJ was saying, do you notice how it's like the song says it was Agatha all along? She really played it up so bad. She's like, I can be good. Help. No, I really need your help. Psych. No. We killed everybody. That's the type of villain Marvel needs. We've always said Marvel doesn't take their villains as seriously as they should from the comic book world. And now we have an established one that's like, and it's a woman. So shout out to a female being a badass villain. Shout out to the female.
Women can be great villains.
You know who's
written right? I love it.
Villains if done properly.
You know who's an underrated villain is? I'm sorry, I still have to say is I still think Hela was a great villain. A lot of people don't.
I agree.
I know how you feel about that, RJ.
He killed her off early too.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ragnarok was the best out of the 3 Thor films.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%.
Easy.
Hela was just. I don't think you can get to to that level of epicness of pure badassness when you can sit there and you can break Mjolnir one-handed.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And that's what I'm just going like, you know what? Here's my wallet. Here's my keys. Take my watch.
Just go.
I'm done.
She broke it with one hand, and then Kanye shrugged like, "What you gonna do about it?"
Blurred Up brought up something. They said Agatha's bad, but not as bad as Wanda. That's why she wants Wanda's power. I think that's where she's going to. But who knows what could happen if she gets Wanda's power? And I kind of want to see it because I kind of want to see where this goes. If I'm being real with y'all, I kind of want to see how far we can take this.
Yeah, because
I kind of disagree with that comment though. And here's the reason why. Agatha's bad in the sense of, she's badass. But Wanda she's not trying to be bad. She's just trying to cope.
Mm-hmm. She's got PTSD.
She's got PTSD. This girl's heartbroken. She's literally lost her mom, her dad, her brother. Yeah, her brother got shot up like he's a block of Swiss cheese. Wait,
hold on. Before you even go there, how cold was Agatha for bringing that up? Well, your brother's body's somewhere else, but full of holes. I was like,
oh my god. What is it with this show and talking about like relatives? First they said not Misty, dang it. They said something about Monica Rambeau's mom being dead. And I was like, what? With this show? And they'd be wild with their mouth, like they wanted to catch hands. Like they are wild on this show, bro.
Nothing is
Marvel has great writing. Marvel does a great job with putting everything with writing and putting in jokes where it's supposed to be at, and that darkness that they add to it. Marvel's getting dark. I don't know, like if people have noticed that, like even in Captain America: The First Avenger, like you just see Captain America toss a dude out of a plane, and he gets sucked into like the windmill of the plane, and it's like blood everywhere. And I'm like, this is dark. Like you can get away with this, Disney? Like how are you? So Marvel's getting dark.
I think that out. I didn't notice that they were getting dark. It kind of like crept up, which is good. Sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes a subtle creep is better than a blatant, like the subtle comedy of Agatha.
We don't see it coming.
It's more funny. Yeah, it's more funny than Guardians of the Galaxy when they're crashing a plane and you see groups juggling M&Ms or something. It's like, that wasn't really funny.
Yeah,
RJ, You hate that so much.
that scene really like that scene really left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I think I was in the movie theater like frowning, like literally, like not like just straight face. I think my mouth literally went like that's how irritated I was by that scene.
You hit that face like
like nah.
We're
not doing this right now.
That's why I appreciate Agatha Harkness as a villain, because she just does an amazing job, just being sarcastic, being catty. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's a goon. Agatha Harkness is a goon.
That's the perfect way to describe her. She is cold. She's stone cold.
Stone cold. But Trey, do you think Agatha was being saved by somebody?
I'm gonna agree with RJ. I don't think she was, because when you watch it, they're like, you broke the rules or whatever, and she was just like, no, the rules bended to my power, and that was kind of her first thing. Like, yeah, y'all, I'm way powerful than y'all. You don't even compare to me right now. This is all just an act. Like, I've been acting for this whole show. I'm way more powerful than y'all. And when they tried it, and it didn't work. And we all know they all ended up dusty old biddies at the end of that one. So she was just like, yeah, whatever. Screw y'all. I'm just gonna do my thing. Yeah. So I think really just is kind of that powerful, and her book.
Bro,
she made fun of her accent, yo.
She's like, boy, that accent does come and go.
Oh, that accent's
like, yo.
Huh?
You know what's the beauty about this show?
They put a Kobe Kingston on us. I was like, what happened to your accent?
I thought you were Jamaican.
I thought you were Jamaican.
There's the beauty about this show is that we're watching this, like in real life, but like the things we're saying in real life, they're saying in the show. Because the last episodes, they said something like, why are you your accent, your hair, like why are you doing like why you were not looking like that? Just making comments like that. And I love it.
The villain like this after Thanos. Yeah.
We did. We needed a big bad after Thanos.
We needed a baddie who has some comedy to him.
Yep.
Like
Thanos haven't had that. Yeah.
I'm doing this for the betterment of everyone. We got the one villain now who's just like, you know what, y'all can kiss I'm trying to do me.
Yeah.
The Dark Elf is better than Ultron. The Dark Elf from the Thor movies is better than Ultron. We can go there.
Y'all gonna
Malekith? What's his name? Malekith?
Yeah, Malekith.
I'm gonna put some respect on Gene Spader though.
You mean Robot Tony Stark?
You know what?
Mean Robot Tony Stark?
I'm gonna say this: he was a better Tony Stark than Tony Stark himself, because he was catching him with his own punchline.
Yeah,
that's true.
Disrespect Gene Spader. Gene Spader did look. I'm not saying Ultron was great, but Gene Spader did give him some sort of relevancy, and he did make him better than what Disney was trying to put out.
I agree. I do agree with that. My correction, not Disney, better than what Josh Whedon wanted it. Yes, exactly. Because Josh Whedon has his ways. People say whatever, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we did a 2-hour show about that.
Another show.
We won't get started on that.
I'm a roasting for one show.
Shayna made a good point. Agatha loves to be an instigator. Like, is she ready for this? And what I like about Agatha, she says it because she's ready for the smoke. She ain't just saying it to say it. She said it because she got that power behind her. That's what I love about her.
Exactly.
I agree.
Agatha's that chick that was in Florida that had the baby fat jacket on and had a bag of chips and was like, "You gonna let her talk to you like that? You gonna let her talk to you like that?"
Yeah.
And the level of goodness on Agatha is outstanding, especially when you see Wanda trying to use her powers there, and she goes, "No, boo boo, that's not gonna work. You see those stones, those runes? They're my runes. They prevent your magic from working. They work for me, baby. No,
she didn't even know that.
Honey, no.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, are you serious right now? Like, how petty are you at this point?
She's been like that.
She's
powerful.
You don't
She
know
was like, you don't even know the basics of magic. She's like, oh, you really don't know nothing, right? You really don't know nothing.
You don't know shit. She's like, honey, these are rules. This is rudimentary.
And you see how she put on such a good performance? She was so nice with her in the beginning. And then she was like, Wanda was like, nah, I'm not going to help you. What did she do? Threw her real quick. Word.
And took it down a trip down memory lane of all her traumatic experiences. This is your life.
I agree with that. I agree there. All that. And Hec and Wade, man, just what do you think? Do you think Agatha was being saved by somebody?
No. It's Agatha all along. The song gave you the details. It's been her all along. She put on such a good performance. And my girlfriend, who's never watched it, watched an episode with me, and she even was like, she's really playing them out. Like, this is fun to watch. I understand why you like it so much. Yeah. It's how cold she is. Now I know people are going to be upset that there's not a mystery villain like we were supposed to get in Iron Man 3. Oops, I'm sorry. Iron Man 3 was brought up. But it's cool to have Agatha step up as a female and show, listen, you had Thanos, but I'm in the consideration for bad villain right now, top dog right now. And I'm going to say it off the rip. If Catherine Hahn, please correct me if I'm wrong on her name, and Elizabeth Olsen don't get nominated for something after this episode, travesty.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Amazing performances by both.
They played really
I agree. They make the characters realistic. They make you feel like you're right there with them. And that's what the power of Marvel is. That's why Marvel, Kevin Feige, Russo brothers, all them, they know what they're doing. They know the right people to cast for the right role. So that's why you gotta just sit back and just this last episode is gonna destroy everybody. It's gonna throw everyone back.
Facts.
You gotta look at it this way too. In the song, like we've all been saying, it was Agatha all along. 1693 is when all of that went down with her coven and her mom. She had the bug of Cagliostro then. The book's been missing since that time. The book bent to her power. It bent to her will.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not some mystery person. It's not some mythical person behind a curtain like in the Wizard of Oz. Like, it's not that. This is all her.
Mm-hmm.
I love
for so many centuries. Mm-hmm. Of course, she's become one of the most powerful witches. She knows the game from in and out. That's why she told her, "It's just me, honey. No one else."
Yeah, I agree with that. Just because it really is simple. I don't think there's anything to overthink in the situation because. You can say it. I mean, I agree. I mean, you can still throw Mephisto in there. I mean, we can't throw anything out because we don't.
Mephisto.
I've said many times I thought RJ was Mephisto, and my theory could be right.
When he hates the kids.
Word.
Exactly. He hates the kids, so it might be him sucking the souls back in. But who knows? Who knows, man? And the performance is great. Like everyone, Marvel just does a great job with everything. That's all I gotta say. But I know we gotta kind of move on a little bit because we still got a lot to talk about. We'll see how this goes, but we're gonna cut this kind of like into two parts with these last questions are gonna be asked. So because this last episode that we saw was mainly Wanda's journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Wanda's past. So we're probably going to spend most of the time talking about this and throwing your theories as well, whatever you have to say. But as we continue on, Agatha is pushing Wanda and saying, hey, we got to go back. Like the only way to go forward is to go back because there's something missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they go back. So what happens when they go back, there's so much stuff to talk about in these scenes. But we're going to start off with a scene with her parents, and we see their parents, just like how they grew up and stuff, and they obviously love watching all kinds of like sitcoms and stuff because her dad works at like a DVD store and brings the DVDs home, and then they play, blah blah blah. But her parents end up dying But before they die, she's watching the Dick Van Dyke Show, and it's like exactly what we've been seeing the first like 3 episodes, right? So that's something that's not. We all know what happens. That's something that she wanted to see or imagine in her reality. But we saw everything explode just like for a quick second. No one expected that. That scared the hell out of me. I was like, whoa. And we saw that this bomb landed and it said Stark Industries on it. And I was like, interesting. So my question to Trey, what do you think was happening at this time when we saw the Stark bomb?
You know, it is some kind of war, and you know, I don't really know like what war is going on, but I know they mentioned it in Age of Ultron, where they're talking about their childhood, and they're like, yeah, bomb crashed into our apartment, and we were waiting for like 2 or 3 days, and all we saw was the name Stark Industries on it. So that's why they initially had a hate for Tony Stark. But you know, I think that it was another case of people stealing Stark tech. But also, I don't know, because we don't really know who was at war during this time. They don't really give you much context on that. But you know, I don't know.
I like that how you mentioned as far as the Stark tech, because I think that's very important. Like how what time frame is this going to take place in? We don't know if this takes place before, like, you know, Iron Man becomes Iron Man, but I think it does. We might get into some theories, but I want to ask Hec and Wade, same thing. Like, what do you think is was happening at this time when we saw the Stark bomb?
You want to?
I'll tell you.
Okay, so to bite off of what Trey said, it plays off of Age of Ultron. It was 2 days, and and it's bad when you remember certain things from movies and you talk about it, and she's like, we were trapped for 2 days, get to the point. So then they sat there looking, but you remember Agatha did call her out on it. She's like, what was it? What did she call it? A probability hex?
Probability hex, yeah.
Yep. And she said, you've had your powers all along, basically, and you're just saying you're being a bigger actress than I am. You're playing you're playing this up bigger than I did. So your powers have always been there. It just took certain events, and I know we're going to get to it later, that made her powers even bigger and better than what they already are.
See, this is why I love my wife. That was probably Obadiah.
That makes sense, though.
Because Tony never knew about the backhanded deals that were ever going on.
That's true.
Exactly. And you know what's funny about that? That might tie into Armor Wars, because a lot of people are stealing tech. And I think that people are sleeping on Justin Hammer, because Justin Hammer hates Tony, and he's been trying to steal tech from the beginning of time. So Justin Hammer could have got his hands on it. Who knows?
Yeah.
He was. Blurred up right. Look. He was being shady and doing backhanded deals that Tony didn't know about. It's always the people you're closest to that want to be the snakes in the grass sometimes. And he played it up real good. He basically pulled an Agatha. I'm going to fake the funk until I really need to get something from you. And I'm going to cut you off at the knees.
Yep.
Completely.
That's why that whole thing about the Stark bomb hitting their home and everything else. In the back of your mind, you knew it wasn't Tony, because Tony was never about that. Tony was always about doing the legit weapon contracts with the government, making sure that our troops had the weapons that they needed to keep us safe. Obadiah wasn't about that. Obadiah was always about, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get my bread. I'm going to make these side deals with these people, and I don't care whatever happens. If they see that it's a Stark name on it, I'll just fake the funk and say they stole it.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we all know from the very first Iron Man, he was the one doing the back alley deals. So it sucks in a sense, because Wanda and Pietro didn't know that. They just see Stark on it and they automatically make the assumption. Now, going back to the whole thing about the probability hex, it kind of makes sense, because then once we jump to Age of Ultron, and they started, manifesting their powers more because of the Doctor. His name forgets me.
Von Strucker.
Yeah, Strucker.
Aaron Von Strucker.
What Strucker ended up doing was he didn't give them their powers. He just pulled them out more. He was able to enhance their ability. Pietro's power wasn't as prominent as it was, let's say, Wanda. But when Strucker basically juiced them up, that's when their powers came out full force.
Because remember, in real life, in all actuality, girls do mature faster. So her powers were there from the beginning. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. That, man, I just feel like with this story, Ultron, Age of Ultron is just one of those stories that we have to go back because there's so many questions are unanswered, and it's going to continue forward to opening up opportunities for more villains or bringing back Ultron, whatever the situation is. And we can't sleep on that. We can't sleep on these villains because everything that Marvel says in these past films is going to add up. Because same thing like I was saying, don't sleep on Justin Hammer. And like you guys were saying, don't sleep on Obadiah and what was happening around that time. But I'm going to throw this one to RJ again, or to RJ next. Same thing. Like, what do you think was happening around this time when we saw the Stark bomb?
I guess for me, I watching the scenes. First of all, I want to point out what Shane said about how the mom was looking outside of the window, and it was just really common to see the war, going on. And I think that was the kind of the distraction from everything going on was, to watch the sitcoms, and that's how they learned English. Which is, by the way, TV is a great way to learn a language. But going back to the original point, I gotta say that I think this was around the time where those weapons were being sold on the back end. Like I said, I pretty much agree with everybody else on that whole subject of the weapons being sold on the back end. Also, there was something that my train of thought is everywhere right now. What both means. Oh, one thing I like about the thing was that we kind of get to see that, like, the probability hex thing that was mentioned. Wanda has had these powers all along, and I think that's something that we've always kind of wanted to know. How she got in that I guess the end credit scene where her and Pietro were locked in the cages and things like that. What I really loved about this kind of look back into Wanda's life was it really put together a lot of pieces of the puzzle, not just from WandaVision, but from Age of Ultron and the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe surrounded around Wanda. So for me, I think that what it did was it kind of helped pull the timeline. And this, because we said we're in like 6 different timelines. So I think what it did was it kind of put some pieces together for each timeline for us.
Yeah, I agree. There's just so much that connects with each character, like, and how we've seen a lot of development too in the show, because I feel like we've seen how Wanda has grown from just like, this person that we think she's happy, but she's really not happy at all. And we've seen the other characters grow, like with Agatha, and like trying to make her go back to see these images to figure out that missing piece, because she might know what's at stake. And she has to make her go back. So I think that seeing the Stark bomb is something that was very like resemblance of like what you were saying, RJ, what was going on outside. And they're trying to ignore the fact that, this is their reality. And she's trying to create that reality later on in the real world as well, because she has these powers.
Yeah. But Loki Agatha needs to mind her business though. Like, she's really all in Wanda's psyche, like, chill out.
Yeah,
she was really all like in her business. Like, you don't need to know all her trauma, but I get what she was doing. She's prying, she's digging, she's trying to find a source of her magic. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Villain's going to villain. So
yeah, that's how it's gonna be, man.
Who's gonna snoop?
Yep. So let's move on. Next scene with Wanda's journey. She goes into like this part 2. This is my theory. We see her laying on the ground, and like, I guess she's being tested in like this kind of facility area, right? and we don't really know where it is or who's testing her. We just see two people in there testing on her, and she is kind of confused. And we'll get into the Scepter in just a moment. But my theory is, going back to what we were saying before, I think that this might take place. Obviously, it's before Age of Ultron, because at the beginning of Age of Ultron, we saw how Wanda and Pietro were together and they were holding hands. That was kind of like the intro for them. But where were they before that? So my theory is that I think that they were at like a Hydra testing facility that they didn't know about. Because or SWORD facility, whatever facility being tested on, or the Nexus program, because they deal with all kinds of people with abilities and stuff, like mutant abilities. Point is, they didn't really define where she was. Big Hec and Wade, where do you think Wanda is?
I think you're hitting it right on the money. She's in a Hydra facility. They're using the Tesseract from the wand to basically enhance what powers they already have. This is an older Wanda. This is an older Pietro that we're seeing. And then when Wanda's trying to, I guess, pull more power from the Tesseract, we get that vision that she sees. And it's literally, it's her. We know it's her. We can tell based on the crown on the head and the cape, and we can see her floating down. And basically what it was is she now sees herself in her full power form. This is the full-on Omega Scarlet Witch that we're seeing. And this is basically like, I want to say the Tesseract just basically gave her a glimpse of who she's going to become.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I feel it was a jump start for her. Like the Tesseract was a jump start. Like as soon as you put the key in, start the car. That's all she needed to see.
It ignited it.
It ignited it. Basically, you hit it on the head. I'm gonna agree with you and Hec. She was in Sokovia. That's where she was the whole time. So she never really left home. She was just hidden somewhere in a Hydra base. And to see how she was and to prove herself, she even proved herself again. So I'm going to give more credit that this is a female-driven episode. Because remember, they kept saying, the scientists kept saying the whole time, no one survived this. Anybody who's touched the Scepter has died.
Yep.
She was the first person to just say, I can do it, and did it. And she just said, you just want me to touch it? Like, she looked like unfazed.
Yeah.
Unfazed at all. Like, nothing bothered her. She was just like, touch it? Okay. Oh.
I ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I had nothing to lose.
But I agree. I think that it's just, we don't know exactly where she is, but I just want to throw that question out because it's just interesting to see that, every single scene that we see, we're like, oh, we kind of ignore that. We pay attention to other things. But when we go back, we're like, oh, this might mean something. So I think it's important to figure out like what is going on in this scene. It may not be explained right now, but I'm sure later on in future films or shows, we might see that again connecting. Trey, same thing. Where do you think Wanda is?
Man, I'm gonna just say the same thing pretty much. She's in secret Hydra base, still in Sokovia, and they're really just trying to, I don't know, just trying to get her more powers because I don't know, man. it's so
it's tough. Yeah, we don't know.
I will say though that when we got a glimpse of the suit, I thought that was so dope, and I agree. I think that was the Mind Stone giving her like a glimpse of her future. This is what you're gonna be. You're gonna be this powerful being, this Scarlet Witch. I
think we're calling it the wrong stone.
No, it is the Mind Stone.
The Tesseract
is the Mind Stone.
Yeah, because
it's space.
No, Mind.
It was the Mind Stone.
In the beginning, it was. They said space, but then they retconned it and made it the Mind Stone.
Okay, I just want to make
sure.
sure.
Yeah, I remember being confused by that early on too, because I was like, wait a minute, what? But yeah.
Yeah, because like the Tesseract is technically like the Space Stone, but it's not really the Space Stone or something like that. So it's weird, but same thing, RJ. What do you
on this bystander?
Where do you think Wanda is, RJ?
Well, I pretty much agree with everybody's senses. I will kind of throw a curveball in there because I don't know if you guys watch Agents of Shield, but Hydra really infiltrated Shield deep, so she could be in a Shield base that may be doubling as a Hydra base. I don't know, just throwing that out there, because that did happen, in Agents of Shield in a season where Hydra infiltrated Shield so much to the point where they completely, took it over. And what I like about the whole Agents of Shield and Tesseract and the Terrigenesis thing is, only certain people are able to touch these entities or these powerful objects, and I feel like that kind of speaks to Wanda's true power, because there was I forgot what it was called in Agents of Shield, but only people who had the potential to become Inhumans were able to touch this, and they were really, really powerful beings. And I feel like that kind of just speaks to how powerful Wanda and her brother are, which that irritates me too, because he shouldn't have died. Because if you're that powerful to where you can touch a Tesseract and not drop dead like everybody else, you mean to tell me you couldn't outrun some bullets? But that's neither here nor there. But,
so you mean to tell me he could have seen it coming?
I'm never gonna get over that, man. I don't. Marvel can explain it all they want, any old kind of way. They can make a bunch of WandaVision episodes. I'll never understand that. I'll never forgive them for that. I half would be okay if they found a way to undo it. Like, I don't care, alternate timeline, but that's one thing I wish they would undo. That's the one mistake I feel like Marvel really made.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
But it helped. It was the catalyst for, Wanda's trauma and her becoming who she is. And maybe that's the key to her unlocking her, power of being, the Scarlet Witch.
Mm-hmm.
They could have probably went about that a whole lot better, though.
Yeah. But kudos to the costume, though. The costume. Yeah. Now, I had jokes. I'm like, they're going to screw this costume up so bad that it's going to look terrible and cheesy. No, it actually looks like a crown is on her head, and it's in the Scarlet colors, Scarlet Witch colors. Yeah. You saw the flowing cape. I was like, yo, they really put effort. Like, this
They did.
But I like how it wasn't a full reveal. Mm-hmm. You got a really dark silhouette of it. It was very prominent. And it was kind of like that super teaser, like, hey, we're going to give you a little bit. We're going to show you we didn't mess up. Previous episode, it's a gag. She's in a costume. It's Halloween. She got the shit at Party City. This one, we're letting you know this is full on production style. Like, this is legit. Mm-hmm. I didn't say Spirit because I wasn't trying to knock Spirit.
Yeah, we don't knock Spirit out.
Right.
He saw it coming, but it was too late.
Oh, come on. Another country, but full of holes.
Dang. That's cold.
He cold.
That's funny.
That's the one, the coldest line of the whole show. No.
Shannon said you need the Fox version to play a song for him because I'm
I'm just thinking the songs you could have put from the 90s and 2000s that would have made sense, and I'd have been like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Rhyme song?
Yeah, put Busta Rhymes in there and see how that turns out.
Put Busta Rhymes. That's funny, man. So let's talk about this Scepter real quick. I know we kind of talked about it just now, but I want to go a little deeper into it. So this isn't comic knowledge or anything. I'm going to ask y'all a question. So we didn't see like just the Tesseract there. We know it's not the Tesseract, it was the Mind Stone, but we saw it as the Tesseract in that moment when Wanda walked up to it. But it wasn't just a Tesseract, it was the Scepter, and it was the actual staff that is crafted by Asgardians. And my question to I'm gonna throw this one at Trey. Why do you think Loki's Scepter is there?
Well, Let me say the Tesseract and the Scepter are totally different. Like the Scepter is what has the Mind Stone, and the Tesseract is what I guess has the Space Stone. But
Yep.
I think that is there because you know when the last time.
Don't do Party City like that.
Not bad. Twister, yes.
Yeah, get Twister.
Twister, yeah.
There we go.
Oh man.
So the last time we saw the actual Scepter before we saw it in Age of Ultron was I can't remember.
Avengers.
I'm blank. Avengers, yeah. So
Avengers.
that's when we see it go into the hands of Hydra, you know, pre-time warp or whatever. And so that's why Hydra has it, and that's when they're doing the experiments on that. So I think that's when they kind of bring Wanda in, and they're just like, here, we're going to try and see if you can touch this. We're going to see if you can try and do this. And so
yeah,
that's why
I think, you know, the Scepter is like, you know, is kind of just like messing around with different people, like, because everyone has touched the Scepter, has had like shield, sword. I think a lot of people have just touched it and just been trying to mess with this thing. But what about you, RJ? Why do you think Loki's Scepter is there?
I have questions about that actually, because now I'm trying to think, because at what point in time were Wanda and her brother in Hydra? And I'm thinking about the events of the Avengers when they had the Scepter. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes me think that maybe she was in the Shield base when it was infiltrated by Hydra, because when did Hydra get their hands on the Scepter?
That's a good point.
That's what I mentioned earlier, where it's like I feel like she might have been in a Shield / undercover Hydra base, you know, one that was like either infiltrated or taken over, because that's kind of what, like, I'm trying to do, like, the timeline to me isn't adding up. So that's what makes me think that Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. ties in with that in a way that, you know, I'm sorry, what was the question? Like, my mind was so blown by that.
No, I mean, you already answered it.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was trying to figure out, like, what's going on with her.
But that's the thing, RJ. That's the thing, though, because and I asked that question because I just want to get everyone's theories and thoughts. I know Big Heck, I'm gonna get to y'all in a minute. I know y'all got something to say, but RJ, I mean, I agree, just because we don't know. I mean, I do think it has something to do with Avengers. I think you're going in some kind of direction with that. So I see what you mean, but that's the thing. We don't know what's going on.
And now Shield has been known to not weaponize, but to kind of like take it. So did Shield capture her, and maybe she ended up in the hands of Hydra because Shield took her?
Maybe because Shield and Hydra are kind of the same thing, and there's corruptness in Shield. So, you know, Hydra probably took her on the low to, like you were saying, the base, and did some experiments on her.
I'm throwing stuff out there. I don't know. We'll see. we don't know. We don't know Marvel.
Big Hec and Wade. I know y'all got something to say. I know y'all. I leave y'all last.
I'm gonna take a stab at this first. So I've now come to the actual conclusion why they keep throwing Age of Ultron back at us after WandaVision. Literally almost every episode, when you're done watching it and you go back to watch Age of Ultron, there is an answer for every question. So if you watch Age of Ultron after watching this episode, the answer is she's not at a S.H.I.E.L.D. base. It is indeed a Hydra base. Her and Pietro signed up for the experiments from Hydra.
That's right.
They mention it in Age of Ultron. Because when you see, when Maria Hill gives Steve the paperwork, right, about the twins,
yeah,
she says she asked Steve the question, who would voluntarily sign up to become an experiment?
That's right.
That way. She's like, who would ever want to sign up to be an experiment or a lab rat? And then Steve turns around and he goes, yeah, I don't know anyone who would voluntarily sign up to be a German scientist's lab rat.
Yeah.
Like kind of taking the dig at himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Dang, yeah. I got an idea. Nick Fury has a lot of explaining to do. Because I'm going to go back to a key statement he made in Iron Man 2. There are enhanced beings out here that you don't even know about. So he probably knew about Wanda and Pietro way before everybody else did and just played stupid because he's a spy. That is his job. He's supposed to play it up like he doesn't know anything.
The enhanced being is not the kids.
It's not the What do you mean it's not the kids?
It's not the kids.
It's not Pietro and Wanda?
Who was the enhanced being he knew about before S.H.I.E.L.D. was even formed?
Hulk?
No.
Who?
Captain Marvel.
Thank you.
You
got it.
So you know what? That makes sense because when Captain Marvel came out, Nick Fury found out about Captain Marvel, and we also heard her say in the end of Infinity War and Endgame that Rhodey kind of like tested her and was like, hey, where you been? Like, where you been at with all this craziness going on in the world? She's like, well, I kind of been doing other things on different planets. So I haven't really been here. So, I mean, I got stuff going on. So I see what y'all saying.
The whole thing. When he says there's enhanced beings out there that you don't even know about, he's referencing Captain Marvel and he's referencing the Skrulls.
Yeah, okay.
He's paying reference to them. But now, this is why I'm saying it really goes back. That's again the beauty of Disney is that they're trying to tell you, hey, look, if you got questions, we got answers. We're giving you the damn movie that's giving you the answers.
Open book test. It's an open book test.
Exactly. It's a cheat sheet.
It's a cheat sheet. Like go back and look at what we said, and then
hey, look, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna give you a quiz. Here's the questions. WandaVision. Guess what, guys? It's an open book test. Here's the answers. Age of Ultron.
Exactly.
We still failing the damn test with the open, even with the answer.
Exactly. That is Captain Marvel, the Skrulls. Who would sign up for? You know, why is Wanda and Pietro there? Easy. From the time the bomb hit the house and he saw it just says Stark Labs on it, Stark Industries. This was them saying, okay, this is our chance to get back at Tony Stark for destroying our family. We're going to sign up with Hydra. We're going to have them do the experiments. We're going to take these powers and we're going to use it against them.
Exactly.
All I'm going to say is Captain Marvel needs to catch the fade. She got to catch the fade one time from Photon. She got to catch the fade.
Yeah.
And it's something I did last week. She looks like she's ready to go all the time. And when she sees Captain Marvel, it's on sight because she got some explaining to do. So
you know what I hope happens? I hope Eugene, I swear I hope is on site. I hope like Captain Marvel just like flies down and like she turns around and when Rambo's there and there's wah. Like I swear I hope it's like no dialogue, nothing, just straight on site.
Now you mentioned where were you when Mom was sick? I was off world helping other civilizations that don't have the Avengers, that didn't have Sword. I was helping them out.
See? Exactly my point. Exactly my point.
That's a good. I didn't even think about that.
He just couldn't.
Exactly.
You know what? You can look it up on YouTube and prove me wrong. Prove me right. He says the word mutants in an extended cutscene, but they didn't use it because they didn't have the rights.
They couldn't.
So now you can throw it in there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See, look,
Team Monica. Yup. Monica hashtag Monica better. Monica better give Carol the fade.
What's going on with Monica? Carol. Because we didn't see her since Pietro. Said Snoop was gonna snoop, and we haven't seen her for 2 episodes.
She's still in the heck somewhere.
Hey,
I got a feeling Pietro caught her with an uppercut.
Not Pietro.
Pietro.
Remember?
Pietro.
Pietro. Fake Pietro.
Yeah, he's the Dollar Store. He's the Dollar Tree brand of Pietro.
Yeah.
Which slaps of Fox's X-Men movies, like yo.
Basically, he opens the Papa version.
Like what's? Oh, he's the He's the Wish Quicksilver, like what you thought you were gonna get when they
Wish.
Oh man,
a general.
Dollar General Quicksilver.
Oh man. Oh man, there's just so much to say, and I agree with Heck, because the beauty of Disney, I think you just hit all your points just perfectly. They give you a test and they say, here, but you can have the answers, you know, but you're gonna have to be ready for this other test that we got coming for you, but you'll still get the answers.
Yeah.
So I think we hit spot on with all that, and same thing with RJ Trey. I think we all hit it spot on just with what's going on with, you know, Wanda. And another interesting theory I want to get into and ask you guys, because I know we're kind of running out of time. RJ, we doing okay?
Yeah, we're good on time. We're good. We'll go a little while longer.
Cool. All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'll probably cut this into two. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so let's go on to this still Wanda's journey that we're going on, because this is a long journey. Like I said, we're going to be here for a while. Okay. This isn't necessarily a theory, but this is something that does tie in. So when we see the next part of Wanda's kind of events that happened in the past, she's sitting on the bed and she's watching Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we see that Vision just walks in, and this takes time around the events of Civil War, because it takes place a little bit before Civil War, but probably around that time. But and she's explaining that, like, how she's had these powers and she's just not herself anymore, and she's kind of like had these plans kind of to do something, and she doesn't know what's going to happen, right? And she wants to start a life with Vision, yada yada yada. But there's just a lot of things going on with the Civil War event and why we saw her change from Ultron to Civil War to Infinity War to Endgame. So, but like I said, let's go back. You guys seen Civil War? You know what happens with Spider-Man, that whole fight, and how they all fought at the airport and they cleared everybody out.
Yep.
I'm gonna toss this one to RJ. Do you think Wanda had plans before the events of Civil War?
You mean plans as far as like with her and Vision? Yeah, of course. I feel like she was trying to build a life with this man. Wait, did Civil War take place before or after?
Civil War is after Age of Ultron.
It's after Age of Ultron.
After Age of Ultron. Yes. Okay,
yeah, of course. Yeah, Doug, spiritual was going. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think she had, you know, plans. I feel like, you know, life comes at you fast, throws you curveballs. And I feel like she probably got completely thrown off when her brother passed away. You know, I'm pretty sure she never expected to be an Avenger either. But I feel like even with, you know, her growing to, you know, learn to love Vision and things like that, I feel like she did have plans to, you know, build a life with him. And I think that's kind of what the catalyst is for WandaVision, was her losing, you know, her life's plan. How many times we've been in a relationship in high school and you think you're going to get married to the person you were in ninth grade, and it doesn't happen, you know? Yeah. And it's like, you know, like, come on, if you asked us in our early 20s where we thought we'd be in our 30s, you know, we'd tell you a whole different story. And so I feel like that's kind of what happened with Wanda was, you know, she had this plan for her life, you know, and I feel like, you know, with the death of her brother, you know, she lost a lot. Like Agatha really, you know, she was like, you lost your parents, you lost the love of your brother, and you lost the love of your life. This woman is completely traumatized at this point, and she has literally nothing left to live for, you know? So I feel like that as she's at a point where it's like, all she has is her fake reality that she's built. And it's sort of one of those things where I understand where she's coming from, but I get that her plans were thrown completely off, because she wanted to, even in Endgame or Infinity War, whatever one, where they got washed by Squidward and whatever. Infinity War. Yeah, like they got straight washed. Like they were planning, they were building a life together, man.
Yeah.
And it just got completely thrown off track with the death of Vision. And it's just one of those things where you feel for her and you understand where she's coming from. I remember when we first started this live, we said that Wanda was going to be the big villain. Now, so as we get to the end of it, I see where she is the bad guy, but and I took this from Dominique Fishback from Project Power, which did an interview with Sharonda from Hec and Wade. Shout out to Sharonda from Hec and Wade. If you're not following Sharonda, please follow Sharonda. And it says just because you do bad things doesn't make you a bad person, and I think that's where Wanda is right now. Just because she did a bad thing, it doesn't make her a bad person. She did a villain thing, but she's not a villain. So,
yeah, I agree. I know you gotta kind of get things going here. So, Hec and Wade, same thing. Like, what do you think were the plans for Wanda and Vision during the events of Civil War? What do you think was going on?
I feel that with Wanda, she like pretty much what RJ said. She had goals and plans set up. She was looking at her future with someone who I can't say filled the void of the loss of a family member, because we've all been there.
Yeah.
It was just something to make her not as sad as she would have been. Because we've all seen it through that whole episode. Wanda has been living through grief since she was a kid.
Yeah.
So to find that one glimmer of hope or happiness and have it just taken away from you, you'd find any way to figure out how to make yourself happy. And that was her way.
Yeah.
And it just sucks. It makes you feel more sympathetic towards the character. Like, I have a lot more respect and love for the character now than I ever thought I would. Again, shout out to Elizabeth Olsen. You deserve some type of reward for that whole episode.
Definitely the better of the Olsen.
Yeah.
Definitely the better out of all the Olsen sisters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Agreed.
Well, before I don't want to interrupt, but Blerd brought something that definitely I forgot to talk about. When she saw the deed from the house and it said to grow old together. Oh my God. I see why she lost it, man.
Yeah. Because I think that going on with that, I think that when she was driving into town, I think that she kind of saw the town as hopeless, not really going anywhere. And it's a quiet town. It's in the middle of nowhere. So I think she took advantage of that. And she was like, yeah, this is it. So I think that's where she settled down. She's like, this town is not really going anywhere, so I can do whatever I want with it.
Yep.
Pretty much at that point. And the scene where her and Vision is literally the transition from going from Age of Ultron. It's that halfway point between Ultron and Civil War. Because it's right before Civil War, so like she's just getting acclimated at the Avengers site. You know what I'm saying? And her and Vision are finally coming together. They're connecting. That scene with them watching Malcolm in the Middle together is so strong that when you see her holding the deed, it's like, you're like, Jesus Christ, like, how much more do you want to put this woman through? Exactly. Mom is bad first. Dad gets full. Her brother gets full of holes. Then she has to watch the love of her life die not once, but twice.
Yeah. And then when she went to find his body, she couldn't even feel him anymore.
Exactly. Like how much more are you going to beat a dead horse? Like, it's done already. Like, how much more?
When she said, I can't feel you, I was like, oh my God.
And Hayward, see, we didn't talk about him. He was the
him.
Yo,
he's terrible, bro.
He's terrible.
He's the villain.
That's pretty much, That's the last thing we were going to talk about, really, was just Hayward. Like, we know that from the beginning that, like, we thought this dude was bad, but this dude is really bad. Like, he's really bad. So, Wanda apparently.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to say this. I know that I'm trying to censor myself as much as humanly possible.
You get one F-bomb. You get one F-bomb.
You get one.
I get the one? Cool.
Get the one.
If there was a time that, or you know what? If anyone out of this whole series can get the award for biggest asshole of the year, it's Hayward.
Yes.
Agatha gets Goon of the year. Hayward is a whole, not a half, not a quarter. He is a whole asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
And what he says to her in the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, because he says to her in the next scene, like we saw her walk in, right? And then he's just like, "Oh, you can't have him. Like I'm sorry, you cannot take a $3 billion worth of vibranium. You cannot take this. You're not allowed to." And she was like, "Oh, okay." Boom, and just pushed through the glass. His body's down there.
We all looked at her like,
what pissed me off was when he said,
Hayward got to catch the fade.
You just made the list.
He's on the fade list.
But you know what really irritated me or really upset me? And I don't know, people just say that the rudest things on the show, man. This show is mad disrespectful, bro. When they said, we can't put however much money worth of vibranium in the ground.
Yeah,
what?
I was like, really?
We're just gonna ignore the fact that this artificial intelligence who learned how to become human, we're just gonna negate the whole fact that was almost a whole person at this point. Mm-hmm. No, he's actually just $3 billion worth of vibranium.
That's $3 billion, yeah.
And he's on that list with Black Widow as they deserve the funeral. Those two characters deserve funerals. In the Avengers movies.
Yes.
He was we're talking about like
Carmen was pissed.
Like, yeah, we're gonna we know you have the ability to turn him back online. I mean, make him come back alive or something like that.
Right.
That was another line.
Turn him back online. What is he, a damn computer? What is he, like some old compact Presario that we just have sitting in the closet?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yo, like, he really acted like my man was like some old ass Hitachi, like 7200 from like 1980 that she was just gonna pull him back up.
Yeah.
Yo,
yeah, we can't say what you said, but yeah, we agree.
Yeah, honey, I already got my one in.
Nobody likes this man. I hope he suffers. I really just want Monica just to punch him in the face. That's all I want to see.
That's the fade. That's the fade.
Look,
there's villains you love and then there's villains you hate.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And he's a villain that we hate. Low.
I hope he trips.
Like you love to hate Agatha, but you hate Hayward.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
yeah.
Terrible.
So, but other than that, I mean, last thing, real quick before you wrap up, what do you guys think of the end credit scene? Trey, White Vision. White Vision.
I thought it was so dope because when Wanda walked out of the SHIELD headquarters, I was like, she never stole the body. They still have Vision's body. And and then I was like, I'm wondering if they're going to show that or what they're going to do with that. And then the end credit scene, we see White Vision, which is going to be another costumable moment. It wasn't a creepy costumable moment, but it's going to be a costumable moment. And I thought it was so dope because this is going to be, because I think he turned on at the end of the thing, right?
Yeah.
Actual Vision has been turned on / alive. But I think he's going to be more of a, computer-based kind of robot at this point.
Like OG, like version 1.0 Jarvis.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
To see what goes on with it.
I agree, Trey. It's going to be crazy. RJ, I know you got to wrap this up, but yeah, RJ, what'd you think, man?
You're good. Hayward is Mephisto.
All right, guys, we had a great time. Drop the mic. We're done. We're done with this. We need to talk no more.
Hear me out. No, like
this man sent me to another planet.
No, but
don't care about the funny in the fly anymore. It's Hayward.
It's Hayward. No, I dig the scene with White Vision. I think what it does is it kind of gives us something to look forward to in the finale. Because like you say, she never stole the body. But I don't know if it's just been so long ago, I can't remember because it's been 7 weeks we've been watching this show. Then they show footage of her actually breaking in and taking the body, and then they blame her for taking the body. So that would mean that Hayward either doctored footage or lied about Wanda taking the body. Now my whole thing is like, I know computer graphics are completely different in Marvel Cinematic Universe. They have technology that we don't. But how could he fake Wanda taking the body if they never showed her taking the body? So that's kind of one thing that I are kind of it's kind of weird. Maybe that's why he couldn't leave the Hex, because he's not in the body.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I got something to that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Hec and Wade. Last thing, what did y'all? I know I saved y'all for last. I know you got something to say for the grand finale. So what did y'all think of White Vision?
All right, I'm gonna go first.
Yep.
All right. First of all, it was a very dope scene to see White Vision. It wasn't complete White Vision because there's got to be some gold face and everything. We need that in there. Yep. Hayward is Mephisto's. that would be a Teespring exclusive. We'll be putting that out as a joint effort between both of us.
Face off.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Let me. That's my point. That's my point. Thank you, Carm. All right. So
I love my wife.
So we know that we have White Vision now. Very dope, cool scene. Thumbs up. Moving on.
Kind of Dr. Manhattan-ish.
Kind of, but let's get to the point. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. The reason he couldn't leave the Hex is because it's what Wanda created in her mind. That is not truly Vision. That is the way she sees Vision. That is the way she visualizes Vision. That's why he can't remember anything at certain points. He doesn't know about the Avengers. He doesn't know that he died twice. The Vision, the White Vision, knows all of that because he still has the memories of it.
Right.
So maybe there will be a face-off, yes, between Vision and White Vision, but we're also going to get a face-off between Wanda and Vision. And I feel that the memories that she has had of him combined with what White Vision has is going to put them together and make one Vision back to normal again. And then we'll have Vision for the rest of the time being. And I feel that this is eventually going to lead to, and I know we're all fans of the comics, I feel that this is going to lead off to a spin-off show of Vision from the comic book run that we had a few years ago by Tom King, where Vision gets the idea to create his own family, and he leaves.
Quest.
Exactly. So Vision will have his own family. But I cannot wait to see what happens when White Vision and Vision square off. Exactly. I was thinking of Watchmen too, but Marvel is going to blow our minds with this next episode.
Definitely. And
can't wait.
Tie back.
Hi, Emmy Boo.
All right, so that's the 2-year-old. Hi, Nana.
Why is she up?
I love the whole White Vision aspect because it was a huge throwback to the Captain America and the Avengers video game.
Carm made another point. You see her, see him come out of her completely,
right? Mm-hmm. And I have a theory about the Vision that she manifested. I don't think it's just. I don't think it's just her visualization of him. I truly believe she manifested Vision from her memories. So it's not just a false Vision that we're seeing. It's not like Pietro. She brought Vision back to life. That's her Vision.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why he started to crumble outside of the Hex. Mm-hmm. And you saw it when he was getting his hands out and even part of his face, he started crumbling. So there's a physical Vision that's there. It's not an illusion, or it's not just just something that she propped it up.
She can't also do that.
Right. Yeah. And it ties back to how powerful she is with her chaos magic. If she can literally pop up 2 human beings as kids, why can't she recreate Vision from her memories?
Good point.
If that's the case, she should just recreate her brother. Legit, like her brother.
But again, she did.
Wait a minute.
You have to look at it in the sense of the timeline of how everything went down. Her brother was, that was something that was traumatic to her. If that was the case, she could have bring back her parents then also. Mm-hmm. But in the timeline, in the strew of everything that was going on, parents died first, then Pietro became Swiss cheese. And then... man. I'm sorry. I really wasn't a fan of Kick-Ass. You didn't see that coming? Look, apparently not. You didn't even see it.
I feel you, Hec. I feel you.
But when Vision died, it was it was like that. It was the straw that broke the camel's back at that point. It was like, all right, I can't take any more heartache. I can't lose someone that I love. Like, legit fell in love with, like, this was literally her soulmate. So what happens? She gets to the empty plot. She looks at the thing. She creates the home for themselves, and then she brought back her love of her life. Because that was the last thing that she lost. So I really think, like you guys said, we're gonna get the face-off, Vision versus Vision. But I think the one that Hayward has is not. It's not just Jarvis 1.0. I think someone took a little bit of that backup memory from the cloud and put him in there.
Yeah.
You think this would be a way to bring Vision back? Maybe they'll merge consciousnesses.
With a little bit of Ultron.
I've been saying this Ultron from the beginning. I think Ultron, anytime something computerized is activated in the universe, Ultron senses that because he works through computers. So I think he might find his way to slip into that. Exactly.
You gotta remember too, okay, here we go, guys. Pop quiz, open book. Let's go back to Age of Ultron, shall we? The vibranium that was stolen was to be used for Vision, right?
Yep.
Hayward has all of the vibranium pieces for Vision. What has Ultron been trying to do? Get into Vision. He's trying to take that body.
Yo.
What's the perfect way of sinking
my God, Trojan.
That's right, yeah. Because I think Trey and I might have talked about that a little bit in our podcast. Now I agree with you because he's been talking about the suit of armor around the world, but like Ultron wants to destroy life as it is, and he's been trying to find the substance, which is vibranium, the strongest metal on Earth, to go into one of the most powerful robots, synthezoids in the history of Marvel. So I think that's it.
And here's gonna be the
Ultron is Mephisto.
All right. So here's where I'm gonna put my final coup de grace on my theory of we're gonna get another version of Ultron in here.
Yep.
Didn't you guys say before we got on air, James Spader's in the listing?
We did. Yeah. Oh, James Spader.
Wow.
Oh, James Spader is Vision.
And that's how you got the mic.
James Spader.
Let's round of applause.
Kudos, Marvel.
Round of applause.
You did it.
Round of applause.
You did it.
Just so you know, I had the book with me when you guys gave out the quiz. I didn't study, but I used the open book.
You passed. You passed, bro.
Get his wish.
Exactly. Ultron
was your degree in Marvel from Marvel University. Here.
Yeah, for real. Heck, you and I are gonna have a nice talk backstage. So that's one way to drop the mic, man. That's really it. I mean, there's just Ultron. There's so many things that we're gonna see tied into these shows. Next week we're gonna see the grand finale, which we're all so excited for. I'm tired of waiting. I've been seeing these memes of like Narcos and the dude just standing there just like waiting on WandaVision. Yeah. So
I'm telling
we're gonna get something great next week. I can't wait. Big Hec Wade, thank you so much. We're gonna invite you guys on the show all the time whenever we get each other around and we can get each other into schedules. But where can we follow you since we're pretty much wrapping up this show?
Okay.
I always pass it to him because he does it so smooth.
Okay. So if you would like to follow us on social media, we are available on Instagram at BigHecWadeAdventures. We are also available on Twitter at BigHecWadeAdv. We have a Twitch channel, which we will be streaming a lot of things on sooner or later. We also have a Facebook. You can look up Big Hec Wade Adventures. If you want to follow me solo, my Twitter is at Wade Olson, and my Instagram is also at Wade Olson.
I also have a Twitter and an Instagram. You can guys find me at BigHec217. And we are also part of a great network
called the Fourth Wall Pop Network, where we like to hashtag
make it pop.
And if you'd like to buy any merch from us, we also have a
Teespring account.
You can get your mask. You can get T-shirts.
No, not Teespring. TeePublic. I'm
T-Public.
sorry. You guys have
did it.
Yeah, you've been doing it to me.
TeePublic.
TeePublic.
You can pick up masks, T-shirts, hats, all that cool stuff. We're gonna work on a shirt with for the Blerd shirt where Hayward is Mephisto coming soon. Look out for that. It's coming. We got Ultron is Mephisto. We're just gonna have blank Mephisto on the shirt. You can put whoever you want at this point.
Also, I have the Big Hec Wade Adventures shirt. It is one of the most comfortable shirts that I own, and it is quality. It is really quality, guys. Hec and Wade don't do no cheap shit. So
no. We only do lavish materials of the finest qualities.
It's made of 80% Egyptian sheepskin.
Exactly.
It's better than I tell you.
Hey, y'all are great, man. We love having y'all on the show, man. We're gonna have you back for hopefully like some other Marvel stuff. We got Falcon Winter Soldier coming up, so we definitely gonna get you on for that.
Oh yeah, we'll be here. Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's right after. Ooh. It's like we don't get a break. It's like right after WandaVision.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be going live for you'll be back for sure. We're doing Falcon Winter Soldier too, so you'll be back.
Absolutely.
The opinion of Falcon at that point has changed.
Man.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Falcon. Don't sleep on Falcon. But
according to him, don't nobody give a F about Falcon.
Only Falcon we acknowledge is Miles Morales at this point. Just saying.
Oh man. Hey, but I'm telling you, he's gonna be a force to reckon with. I'm telling you. Trey, where can we find you at, big dog?
Hey, y'all can get me on TikTok at Spider-Boy Trey, and that's Spider-Boy with 2 eyes. Because I had to be different. Y'all know the catchphrase at this point. Y'all can get me.
You already know.
Maximum_Spider, and spelled right down there. And yeah, get me on Facebook, Trey Mosley. That's it.
Yep. RJ, my man, what you got to say for us?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and across most social media platforms at Avatar Rating, spelled down below. I'm pretty much on every social media platform, so go ahead and give me a follow, but I would prefer for you to follow all my co-hosts as well.
Oh yeah, you already know. And the same thing with me, y'all. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, where I'm most active at Hero Harrison Talk. I just made my TikTok page. I have a Twitter now. Starting to form a YouTube channel. Got a lot of podcasts coming these next couple weeks, y'all. So because we got Justice League coming out. We got Falcon Winter Soldier, so we got just so much superhero Marvel DC stuff. It's going to be great. And we got a bunch of projects coming with my host, Avatar Raiden, obviously, and Trey. And definitely, I want to get Big Hec and Wade on the podcast to talk about some Marvel stuff, too. So we'll probably do something like that. But other than that, folks, I mean, this is one of the funnest shows I think we've been on all together. We had so much to talk about, laughs, good times. And just diving deep into this. This is what it's about. This is what we all come here for, and I think it's just great. So with that being said, this is going to end it for today's episode. Thank y'all so much for joining in. And remember, Blerd is bond.
Blerd is bond.